millions of years ago when speaking in front of a crowd wasn't even a thing, or where people could just talk to one another freely without having to stand up on a podium or stage to do it? Well, it was like that until 2,500 years ago, when ancient Athens came along and they invented something that has mentally scarred me for so many years, and it's literally one of my biggest fears on earth right now. And it's just two words, and no, it's not a nuclear bomb or a weapon of mass destruction that could kill millions of lives on earth. That's not what I'm referring to here, but this is what I was referring to. That's right, public speaking. Anyways, for those who don't know, ancient Athens was the one who brought public speaking into this world 2,500 years ago. If you don't believe me, just search it up on the internet or whatever. Anyways, if you don't know me, I literally suck at speaking in front of people, and it's been like that for more than 10 years now. And it's something that I try to avoid as much as I can, since I'm just really afraid of doing it. And that's what I want to talk about today. My fear of public speaking. Whenever people like me hear the word public speaking, this is what comes to our mind. Or maybe even this. You see, speaking in public for people like me, it's like having a big monster in a nightmare that keeps hunting us by making us feel scared and nervous all the time. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part of that is we couldn't even run away or try to avoid it, since speaking in front of an audience is something that we all had to do at some point in our lives, especially in school like English and history classes. And to be honest, I'm not one of those extroverts who can just generate tons of words from my mind like a machine. I'm one of those quiet ones in class who doesn't speak a lot, which is probably why I need a lot of prep time in order to prepare for my speech or presentation. And to be honest, just speaking in front of people, it's like facing a battle to me. Even if it's weeks or days before the presentation, it still feels like I'm actually preparing for a battle. Let me explain. I need time to gather up the info or do some research and gather up the words that I want to say in front of the people. And on the day of the presentation, I deliver my words with ease and perfection to my audience. Okay, well, not exactly perfection, but I tried my best to deliver them with perfection, but the outcomes are mostly meh or just decent with a few mistakes, sometimes a lot of mistakes, which is totally normal for a guy like me anyways. But what would happen if I don't do all that preparations? What if I just got lazy, I just did nothing? Well, I would just end up stuttering and shaking on the day of the presentation, which is really embarrassing for me. And that incident, however, actually happened to me pretty recently, actually. Let me share you the story. So I remember it was around March of 2024 last school year, where I had this little presentation here at school in my marketing class, where we all had to choose a product that we wanted to present to our classmates. So I chose iPhone. Okay, well, I thought it was going to be really easy since I've been an iPhone user for almost my whole life now. Okay, well, not that long, but long enough for me to know the functions and basics of it. But the important questions are, did I do my research? Did I write all the notes that I need for my presentation? What is the answer? Nope, not at all. I got lazy. I just sit back, relax, and wait for the day of the presentation to come. And when that day came, and it was my turn to go up and speak about my product, what happened? Boom. I literally hit the wall. I immediately forgot how to speak like a normal human being. And you know those annoying NPCs in the game called Roblox? So yeah, that was literally me on that day. I was just standing there in front of my classmates, and I was like, So yeah, so that was literally me. And to make matters worse, I was stuttering, I was hesitating. I did not even know how to introduce myself and my product properly to my audience. And the presentation was supposed to be a few minutes long, but to me it felt like a few hours just standing there embarrassing myself in front of my classmate. Well, but I did not even do a single research on the internet about iPhone, not even a single word on whatever like website you can find these days, and it was a total disaster. But on the bright side though, I actually did give a few useful info about my iPhone product. But it was a total disaster since it wasn't really well delivered and well structured to my classmates. So the whole thing was a total failure. But I did learn a very important lesson that day. And I used that lesson as a weapon to combat my weakness of talking in front of people. And that weapon is rehearse and research. Yep, that's right. Since I'm not good at talking or speaking in front of people, I would just plan ahead like weeks or days before the presentation by researching on the topic that I need to talk about, and I would just rehearse over and over again to make sure that I would know how to introduce myself and my topic effectively to my audience. And another lesson that I learned throughout my years of high school was that communication and knowledge are two very different things. They're not the same. They're never the same because these two play a very important role in the public speaking world. You need that knowledge to know what you're supposed to say to your audience, and you need that communication skills or just speaking skills in general to effectively deliver your message to your audience. And that's what high school has taught me about public speaking. And speaking of high school, as a senior student who's about to graduate a few weeks from now, I have always wanted to fill my life with so many memories and experiences that I can make throughout the way. And that's the quote right there. No matter how many obstacles I will face in life, I'm sure that I will have a story to tell to the people around me. That's one of the main reasons why I signed up for TEDx in the first place. I've watched tons of videos on the TEDx YouTube channel, and they all inspired me to do one thing, and one thing only, and it's to just come up here and speak about myself, which is something that I couldn't believe actually happened to me today. Because if you were to time travel like 5 years ago and tell me that I'll be speaking for the TEDx YouTube channel, I wouldn't believe you, like not even a million years. And I spent more than a month rehearsing this speech over and over again every single night in my room to make sure that the results would turn out at least decent. I think I spent more time rehearsing and practicing for this speech more than I actually do my homework and study for quizzes for school, which doesn't really matter to me anymore because I'm graduating, I got accepted to uni, and I'm getting out of here, so what's the point? Okay, that was just a joke, but in all honesty, I also have to record myself whenever I have to speak for this speech at home, which is a total pain, by the way, not because it takes too much space on my iPad, but it's just like, it's a pain to force myself to listen to my own voice recorded in a digital device, because my voice sounds really bad when it's recorded on any digital device or just my iPad specifically, and I'm pretty sure that everyone can relate to that. And I believe that anyone and everyone has the ability to do great things, no matter who you are, even if you're popular or not. Like, let's take Bill Gates, for example. He was a big-time introvert throughout his whole life, but look at him now. He's now the co-founder of Microsoft, which is one of the biggest companies in the world right now. And all it took was to step out of your comfort zone, because that's where success is at. Another quote that I wanted to show you guys, and it's actually from one of my favorite shows, by the way, and once you do the hard stuff, it becomes not that hard, which is actually true, by the way, because whenever I challenge myself to new things or try like something new, it becomes easier. Okay, well, as long as I'm not lazy and I'm actually passionate about the thing that I'm trying to do. And I know that I will face many more challenges down the road after graduation, like in college and in life in general, but I don't want to worry too much about them right now, because my job is to focus on the present and worry about the present, not about the future. And I have come a long way in my public speaking journey, where I was just scared and little to speak a word in front of my audience, like 10 years ago, something. And if someone like me can start to overcome their fear of public speaking, so can you. And I will repeat this phrase again. I believe that anyone and everyone has the ability to do great things. Thank you.